A haunted tower where a young woman met her death. A tuberculosis hospital with a dark past. A scary story that's always haunted me since my childhood. And Bigfoot is on the loose in Pennsylvania.
Get comfortable. Turn off the lights. It's Monthly Spooky.
Hello, my spookies. This is the much lauded and exciting and highly anticipated October edition of Weekly Spookies Monthly Spooky, which is not at all confusing. And I still laugh when I think about that title choice, Monthly Spooky. I'm your host, of course, Henrique Couto, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Michelle. Michelle, how are you?
I don't know. I guess I'm okay.
You'd think you would have figured it out when I messed up the first intro and we did it again, but no, you still didn't know.
I don't know what to say now because I don't know.
Well, I'm glad to have you here, Michelle, and we are in the recording crypt, which was built specifically for us to do Monthly Spooky. Once a month, your kind of paranormal horror spooky side recap of the month. We have all kinds of cool topics I want to get into. But first, I need to ask you, Michelle, how do you feel about the crypt? I've been working every month when you come back, I try to do something to kind of make the place look nice. And I did the pile of severed heads. I did the tapestry of Dracula blowing what are those things called?
The it's little wishes.
You call them wishes?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I only know them as like the dandelion wispy
wishes.
Things. Wishes. Okay. See, you people on the East Coast. See, I'm from a meat and potatoes world of the Midwest.
Where there's no wishes.
Where there's no wishes whatsoever. Well, what would you wish for if you live in the Midwest? To live somewhere nicer than the Midwest? Come on. Although we could get into your belief about the Midwest when we talk about Halloween Ends a little bit later. Your opinions of the Midwest. But that are too positive is the problem. Not that they're too negative. They're too positive.
I should have never said that.
I know. How many times do you say that in your own head? I should have never said that.
Like all the time, like every single thing I say.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, ouch. Okay, well that's a little intense, Michelle.
Sorry.
But back to the work I've been doing on the crypt. I don't know did you notice the bleeding wall?
Oh, no, actually I didn't.
It's right to the side of you. Keep turning. There it is. See, there's blood trickling down.
Oh, I thought that was, when you have a bathroom that doesn't have one of the exhaust fans and the walls get really moist and then they get kind of brown from the thing leaching out of the paint. I thought that was that. Sorry.
Well, this crypt has only existed for 4 months. We would have that much damage?
No,
I know I run a humidifier to keep my voice fresh, but that's kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
No, it happens with new paint, but I understand now, and I do think it's good.
But it's more than meets the eye, Michelle. Because as you're looking at it, you're probably like, oh, it's bleeding. It's not just bleeding. If you look closer, there's a plexiglass layer because the blood is actually pouring down and then regathering. So it's a perpetually bleeding wall that doesn't stain anything.
Cool.
Yeah. Isn't that neat?
That's really cool.
Please like it. It was very expensive.
I do like it. It's
I had
like
to have it custom made. And I'm positive the contractor lied a bunch.
Yeah.
So it's good?
Yeah. I mean, you should caulk the edges so the blood doesn't come out as much. But
that's what I said to the guy, and he was like, it's an old wives' tale.
I hate those guys.
And then he was like, I need $50 for giving you that consult. And I was like, the job isn't even done yet. I tell you, it's tough though, because you're at the mercy of the contractor who's willing to walk into a crypt of a stranger.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of those. Especially like female contractors. Like the moment you're like, it's in an underground crypt where no one can hear you scream. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, because it's a radio studio. Like, no. I mean, also it would be good for murder, but it's not. That's not why the acoustics are perfect. I swear.
Yeah.
So, but before we get to the news, I need to talk about our Halloween costumes.
Oh.
I mean, well, it's October. Obviously, we're a week away from Halloween. Halloween is next Monday. And for those of you who are avid listeners of Weekly Spooky, there will be a bonus episode on Halloween Day. Make sure you check that out. But I went kind of classic. I went classic Dracula. I've always wanted to be Dracula again for Halloween ever since I was a little boy, and I was Dracula for like 5 or 6 years straight. And I remembered a very offensive joke my mother made about me dressed as Dracula when I was a little boy. I don't know if I've ever told you this.
I don't think so.
I've been talking a lot about Halloween because I wrote an episode of Weekly Spooky this month called The Grinner, which was like a Halloween story. It was the first episode I've ever written entirely myself.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Thank you. I was very proud of it. You were so kind to read it like immediately when I finished writing it and tell me if you liked it or not.
I feel like it took me a couple of hours, but
I call that immediately.
okay.
So I really appreciate that because I was very proud of The Grinner. I think it turned out great, but it made me think a lot about my Halloween costume choices. And I don't know if you've heard, but the internet is abuzz because eBay and I think Amazon banned the sale of kits to dress like a certain serial killer.
Oh, okay.
So I'm saying a certain serial killer because I want to save my punchline. So when I would dress as Dracula, the most common element of the Dracula costume is a cape, slick back hair, and a fake widow's peak. At least when I was a kid, you had to have the fake widow's peak. And then, of course, fangs and blood, right? If you have those things, you're pretty much set. Everything else could be whatever. But if you have a cape, fangs, blood, widow's peak, boom, you are Dracula. Not just a vampire, but Dracula. Well, one year I wanted to dress as, I think it was the last year I was Dracula. I wanted to dress as like a more modern vampire Dracula kind of thing. So I got a leather jacket, like a hand-me-down leather jacket, and I had like all this cool stuff, and then I had my fangs. But I bought these really awesome fangs that totally did not work with a little kid's teeth.
Oh.
And they wouldn't stay in. So I'd put my blood on my chin and I put the fangs in. The fangs just kept falling out and falling out and falling out. Finally, I gave up trying to wear the fangs. So I'm just running around in like a leather jacket with blood all over my mouth. And I was telling my mom, I was mad because I was like, no, nobody's going to know I'm Dracula. I don't have fangs. And my mom was like, well, you could be Jeffrey Dahmer. Because that's the kind of person my mother is. And that's what's going on eBay and Amazon. They're banning Jeffrey Dahmer costume kits.
Wow.
Jeffrey Dahmer, of course, much more popular right now as far as serial killers go because of the Netflix series Dahmer.
Yeah.
I think it was like Inside the Mind of a Monster or Monster Jeffrey Dahmer story, something like that. They call him a monster and rightfully so. Pretty good show. I'll talk about that more when we kind of do our media wrap up because I have watched a buttload of horror content this month, especially in the Netflix category, because they released 3 things I felt were Halloween worthy. But we'll talk about that later. So I bring all of this up, Michelle, to point out in what world did you think your costume was not offensive and inappropriate?
I just thought it had historical precedent.
I mean, yeah, a part of history everyone would like to forget. That seems like, I get that you're like, I'm raising awareness, but it looks like you're celebrating that really heinous time.
I mean, that's just your opinion.
It's on me. I'm I'm a snowflake. Am I a snowflake? Is what you're saying?
You're like, you're. Everybody has the right to their opinion, but that doesn't mean that was my intention. Maybe.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what was your intention of dressing up as that?
Oh, to scare people, because that's what Halloween's about.
It is scary.
Yeah.
I will agree.
Yeah.
I will agree. Okay. Well, let us never speak of it again.
Okay.
But I appreciate that you dressed up because I know you don't like to dress up for Halloween.
I don't. I thought I did a good job.
You did. I guess I was just kind of trying to stand up for the people that would hurt. Okay, so now I think it's time, Michelle, for the spooky news.
The spooky news.
Is it okay? I was pausing for the sound bite, Michelle.
Oh, sorry.
This is the 4th time we've done it. You should know by now. I apologize in advance for Michelle, everybody. So this one comes from the mirror.co.uk, and I thought you'd like this one, Michelle, because it's about real estate and houses. Well, buildings.
Oh.
It's a haunted hotel hits market for 250,000 quid as buyers warned of supernatural sightings. There's some unwanted extra guests at the creepy hotel. Oh wait, it's in America though. It's an English story, but it's in America.
Oh.
Extra guests at the creepy hotel in Wisconsin, United States of America. And because of the ghostly goings on in this 6-bedroom property, it is now on offer for just 250,000 quid.
Wow.
I wonder if they just didn't even bother to do the conversion. They just said like, oh, it's $250,000. Let's just say 250,000 quid.
Probably, honestly, yeah.
It sounds like something they would do. This incredible 6-bedroom hotel could be yours for 250,000 quid just in time for Halloween, but there's one rather spooky catch. What do you think that catch is, Michelle, if you had to guess? As a certified home inspector, what do you think the catch actually is? Do you think it's like bad plumbing or like wiring or
I mean, is it just burned down?
I mean, would you expect a 6-bedroom hotel to go for $250,000?
No.
And even in Wisconsin, where it's probably a bit more affordable.
Yeah, I would not expect that to go for that money.
I wouldn't expect that either. I mean, around here, like a mansion, but you see, it's a hotel, so it's like it's a business opportunity too.
Yeah. So really, that really is nothing.
Yeah. This incredible 6-bedroom, you will need to be comfortable with some extra guests and not those paying to stay. Oh, so there's squatters.
Oh,
That's
man.
why. Can't get them to leave. The cops won't do anything. I totally get that.
Yeah.
The property in Humbird, Wisconsin is known to be haunted, and the listing even confessed to, quote, multiple reports from owners and guests of supernatural activities. The eerie history of this place dates back to 1869, and there have been numerous claims from people seeing ghosts after checking in. My first question would be, did they see ghosts after checking in or right before they needed to pay?
Well, I mean, that is after checking in, so yeah, we don't know.
Because I just feel like it'd be like, okay, and that'll be $127.99. And they're like, but I saw a ghost. And I'm pretty scared of ghosts.
And it said on the sign that if I see a ghost, it's 50% off.
Yeah, you kind of screwed yourself on that sign, pal. So come on. Investigators also filmed a video that has apparently captured one moving around the hotel. The main floor has a bar and a restaurant. Wow. This place has a bar and a restaurant too for $250,000.
It's totally just burned down. It's a shell.
Do you think like when you got there, like it just wouldn't, there just is nothing there? Like, and it's like 5 square feet of land. It's just...
Yeah. Like it's there.
The supernatural investigators of Minnesota have visited the building claiming that this article has so many typing errors. It literally says have visited the building claiming that it is. That's why I got confused. A volatile space full of supernatural happenings. Now, were they going to put a bid on the place? They're like, oh yeah, this place is hell on earth. Everyone who enters it dies. We'll give you $200,000.
I hope so.
I do too. The American home, now it's calling it home, they did do a conversion, is priced at $279,900 and is called, quote, truly amazing by the real estate agent. Yeah, I bet. The real estate agent is like, this is the perfect place to raise a family. The Manson family. Its listing read, this commercial building with its own 800 square feet living quarters has a 6-room hotel and a large bar and grill located in historic Humbird, Wisconsin, that has had many updates. Hotel rooms are also rented through Airbnb. Residence is open concept with 2 large living rooms, kitchen, bedroom, and detached 2-car garage. New large outdoor wood burner building could be haunted. It says building could be haunted, but with an exclamation point.
Oh, like, hey, this one might be haunted too.
Yeah. So that price is even more crazy now. It has
Yeah.
a living quarters, a giant. I mean, like, it sounds like the living quarters are about as big as my house.
Mhm.
So it has like very big living quarters and all those rooms, which you can rent on Airbnb. And of course, I
Apparently.
would guess sell as like a normal hotel.
I don't know. I just figured they're just an Airbnb.
I mean, it saves you a bunch of trouble.
Mm.
Multiple reports from owners and guests of supernatural activities have been reported, and it was recently featured on Minnesota Ghost Hunters.
Oh.
Wow, so they're leaning into this like, oh no, it's full of murderous ghosts. You'll love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And white people are just slapping money down so hard their hands are breaking. They're like, guaranteed death. Smack. Ow, my hand. Will you take my money? Just signing loan applications so fast they catch on fire. Like,
Wow.
have you ever seen that meme that's just like everyone who's ever lived in this house has died a horrible death, and it says white people, and it's just a happy white family like running into a house looking all smiles and laughter?
I have not seen that one.
I love that one. Tellingly here, Michelle, you're gonna be like, uh-huh. Tellingly, they say the property is sold as is. So no going back if you see something you didn't want to, like dangerous wiring or asbestos or black
Termiting.
mold.
Yeah, termites. Gotta get your own, sorry.
Oh, no, what were you saying? Gotta get your own what?
Gotta get your own certificate of occupancy.
Legally, this is considered a barn. And it's also not in the United States. Legally, it's in Guam. No extradition treaties with the rest of the country. So, would you inspect a haunted house?
I mean, who's to say I haven't? I don't know.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah, of course. I don't care.
I mean, have you inspected a house and been like, this is definitely ghosts?
No, not yet. I hope soon.
What would you do if you like saw ghosts while you were inspecting? Like, would you just put it in your report like just as normal as everything else?
Yeah.
Potential poltergeist activity found.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it under defects though, because I don't think that counts as a defect. I'd put it just like under informational, like I saw a ghost.
Seemed friendly, but could physically manifest.
Yes, here's a blurry image for you.
That's perfect. Every photo I took was blurry. Didn't matter how steady I held it. Oh, man. So that story was pretty good, but let's talk about this one caught my attention. It's another one from mirror.co.uk. This is about a haunted house that is for profit, not a literal haunted house, but a fun haunted house. But this headline just caught me and I could not ignore it. World's scariest haunted house can be found in an abandoned meatpacking factory.
Wow.
The world's scariest haunted house is a firm favorite with those after thrills, especially around Halloween. Wait, is it open not around Halloween? Happy Valentine's Day. All right, do you want to sign the waiver so that these people could touch you? Like, and it's definitely not one for the faint-hearted. Have you ever been to a haunted house, like a fun haunted house?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah?
Yeah.
For some reason, I imagined you just wouldn't be into it.
No, I don't know. I've been to one.
When did you go to one?
I went to the one at Eastern State Penitentiary.
Oh, that sounds like it was
Philly.
awesome.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah? Were you scared?
No.
Does anything scare you?
Yeah.
I mean, other than like general life stuff, like
I don't
waking
know.
up, talking to people, making phone calls.
Yeah, no. I mean, no. It's more uncomfortable because it's like there's people and they're gonna try to scare you and they're around you and it's like, oh no.
And if they don't succeed in scaring you, you hurt their feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
I was watching a YouTube video about from Wendigoon. He's a YouTuber I've started watching a lot, and he does a lot of videos about like paranormal stuff and pop culture and things like that. And he was talking about how he went to haunted house. He lives in like, I think, rural Tennessee.
Mhm.
And he said he went to a haunted house that was literally in a barn on like private property, like just
Yeah.
a family's barn. And he was amazed because it was just like they had people with like chainsaws without the chains, and they like went all out. It was so awesome.
Cool.
And when they pulled up, they were, I guess, like the first people there. So it looked like they had pulled up and just no one else was there at all. Like it looked really creepy because they're in the middle of nowhere at this barn. But he said that it was so much fun. He was so scared during it that when he got out of the back part, he was on his phone immediately, like texting all his friends, like, you guys have to go to this place before it closes for the season.
Mhm.
And one of the workers or one of the family members who was doing it, like walked up to him and like lifted his mask and went, because he saw the guy just like looking at his phone and texting. He was like, oh, didn't find it scary? Or was like, oh, they said not scary enough? Like really insecure. The guy was like, oh, no, this was like the best haunted house I've ever been to. I was just telling all my friends. And the guy was like, oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And then they
so
actually murdered everyone.
Yeah. Or I thought it was like when his friends went there, it really didn't exist.
Why? That building burned down 110 years ago this very night.
Yeah. They didn't even have chainsaws.
Well, you got to keep up with the times if you want to be a scary, scary ghost.
Yeah.
So, anyway, back to the article. Are there 4 more disturbing words in the English language than abandoned meatpacking plant? The Cutting Edge Haunted House in Fort Worth, Texas is a record-breaking, globally recognized spooky property where staff take the job of terrifying punters, English people, use that word, extremely seriously. On location alone, it's harder to get much scarier than the misery-encrusted walls of a meat processing plant, a place where the ghosts of cows past all but float down the halls. Moo. Moo. I'm assuming that's what it's like.
I just figured the cows are smart enough not to be ghosts. They're just like, I'm out.
Oh, well, I mean, you have to have unfinished business to do. So, like, what do the ghosts like of cows come back and like just keep eating more of the grass?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That would be the only thing I mean, what other unfinished business would they have?
I mean, kill the people who killed them.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, vengeance, yes, obviously. But I thought you said they were too smart. So wouldn't they be too smart for vengeance?
I don't know. I don't know if vengeance is smart or not. What if you just really need vengeance?
Well, I've always believed, Michelle, that he who seeks revenge should dig 2 graves.
I mean, that seems excessive, but
way to destroy the poetry. Jeez. Man, Michelle's in a mood today, guys. The abandoned factory itself is located plumb in the middle of a district called Hell's Half Acre, where boarding houses, bordellos, and gambling houses used to attract the debauched likes of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Interesting. No, the photos are terrifying, by the way.
Uh-oh.
There's like they're really big on rotten looking creatures, like where you can see a little bit of skull and stuff. Like, it's very creepy. Today, visitors to the ghoul-laden complex are more likely to bump into one of an army of actors drafted to elicit terror. Cutting Edge holds a Guinness World Record due to its length, with visitors required to walk themselves through more than 1 kilometer of abandoned factory. Do you feel like that would be fun, or do you feel like you'd be really tired of it? You'd be like, I just want to like sit down, tired, scared. Or would you be like, this is great, it never ends?
I don't know how big 1 kilometer is.
Oh my gosh. You're so unworldly, Michelle.
I know.
How am I supposed to do a show with someone like you?
I don't know.
I thought you were just going to say, like, that's what I've been saying. Don't do it. Much of the meatpacking equipment from the Old West era is still in use, but not for grinding up cattle. Well, I don't think it was ever used for grinding. Well, I guess a little bit if you're making hamburger, but
yeah.
Instead, visitors watch on in horror as the rusty machinery hoists uncannily human-looking models up to the rafters and then through the meatpacking process.
Ooh.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
And a great way to make new vegans.
Yeah.
Did you ever? I know you never watched the Hannibal series on. I think it was on NBC.
Nope.
Man, I've never like heavily debated morally being a vegan in my life than watching that show. Because whenever he would cook human flesh, they would like shoot it like it was a commercial for a restaurant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it would be shot like
Oh.
to make everything look really delicious, but
Hmm.
you know it's human in the story, so it made me sick. Like
Oh.
it literally made me sick to my stomach.
I mean that's the better way to go than just being like, "Huh, maybe I could be a cannibal."
I guess they're the two ways to go. I chose the better
Yeah.
one, I suppose. At the end of the horrific experience, visitors are confronted with the sight of butchered corpses neatly packaged up and delivered via the conveyor system.
Ooh.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah.
We need to start a GoFundMe next year to send you and I to like haunted houses all over America and record it. That's what we should do.
We
That,
should.
but you would have to hold my hand. Do you realize that I am like the biggest scaredy cat in the world and I would be screaming and crying?
Aw.
There's a video on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/doomboy5, because that was my account 12 years ago or whatever. But there's a video of me going to Terror Town, the Old West scary area near me. And that really, really scared me. I was screaming like a little girl. I get so scared.
Aw.
I like to be scared and I'm easy to scare. So my life is great. For terror seekers determined to be as scared as possible, they then take a trip to sorry, I read that wrong. A trip to Cutting Edge may be in order. The venue is a national haunted house champion in a country that takes its spooky properties incredibly seriously. We just got chased by two crazed people with chainsaws, one terrified punter recently wrote in a review. The scariest part was the foam. If you walk past, don't panic and focus on your breathing and you'll be fine. I went to a haunted house once where they had a part where you literally have to squeeze because the walls are made out of like cushy, foamy stuff.
Mhm.
And you literally have to like squeeze through it and
Oh.
turn your head to the side and just kind of get through it. But occasionally there are definitely people like pushing on your body on the other side.
Oh, I don't like that. Not because I don't like enclosed spaces, but because the idea of my hair brushing up where other people's hair has been.
Oh, yeah.
And lice. I don't want to do
Oh,
this
yeah.
anymore. I'm done.
Michelle has dreadlocks, so it's like a sponge for everything bad,
Well, I mean, anybody's hair.
but especially yours.
Anybody's hair is susceptible. Don't go through those things, guys.
Oh, wow. See, but then this quote says, my two 10-year-olds made it out of the foam terrified, but fine. Wouldn't let anyone under 13 do this. The whole thing was fun. We'll be back next year ready for the foam room with full face goggles on.
Whoa.
Another wrote, quote, I'm not a person to get scared easily, but they got 4 good screams out of me. My little sister, on the other hand, was terrified, and I loved to see that. Oh, these people are after my own heart. These people are definitely after my own heart. If you're in Texas and fancy a spooking, then tickets can be bought at the link below.
Oh.
That sounds fun. I haven't had a chance to go to a haunt this year.
Mhm.
I live in a little place called Moraine, Ohio. And we used to have a water park. This little township of Moraine tried to open this big water park to like get people to spend more time in Moraine called Splash Moraine. And eventually it closed. And now they run a haunt in where that used to be called Slash Moraine.
Oh.
And I've always wanted to go, but I've never gotten around to it.
Cool.
I'm not a big haunt guy because I do get really scared. I went to a haunted cave haunt 3 years ago that had an actual 50 caliber machine gun being fired in the
Wow.
cave, and it was so loud. I wish they had given a better warning about your hearing, but they didn't do it for like 10 minutes. It was like 3 or 4 loud bangs and then it was gone. Just enough to really scare the absolute crap out of you.
That would really scare me because like
Yeah.
I don't know how stable the cave is.
Well, I mean, it's been there for at least a couple months. I worked on a movie that shot in a real cave, and I said that to somebody. I was like, I'm just nervous because we're under all this heavy rock. And they're like, well, it hasn't moved in like 40,000 years, so I think you're going to be okay today. Real quick, we're going to go to a commercial break, and then we'll be back after this because I have a story from my home city of Dayton, Ohio. right after these messages. Welcome back to Monthly Spooky, and we have some more spooky news. This one comes from my hometown, where I live right now, Dayton, Ohio. It's from Dayton.com. The headline is, and we've talked about this a little bit, Michelle, Dayton Legends, the ghostly tales behind Kettering's Witch's Tower.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there is a creepy tower that literally looks like a castle tower from the 1700s in the little burg of Kettering, Ohio, which is so close to me. It's under 10 minutes from me. Like, I live right near it. And it used to have a wooden roof, which made it look less like a castle, but that roof rotted away. It was built a long time ago. We'll find out all the details soon. But when the roof rotted away, now it literally has spikes on the top like a castle.
Cool.
Like, it looks just like a castle. And my favorite thing about this place, before I read this story, is people will fight over calling it. When I grew up, we called it the Witch's Tower, but people call it Frankenstein's Castle, and they will fight about it in Dayton. Like, you'll be like, I went to the Witch's Tower. And I'm like, you mean Frankenstein's Castle? And it's an age thing. Apparently, like, if you were around in the 80s and up, you call it Witch's Tower. And if you were younger or older than that, you call it Frankenstein's Castle.
Okay.
When I was a teen, my buddy Matt took me there once in the middle of the night and pulled up as close as you can get to it on the road, showed it to me, and then said that's where where like Satanists go to do like worship rituals and sacrifices and stuff. And I'm like 13, and he's like 20. So I'm like, and then he's like, yeah, if you look really close, you'll even see someone. You know, you'll see someone in a dark robe or a hood, usually at nighttime like this. And I was like, no way. And he was like, you see that? And I was like, dude, let's leave. He was like, what? Did you see that person? And I was like, let's leave.
Aww.
So, and then I immediately, when I got my driver's license, did that to a girlfriend of mine. Like, the moment I had a car of my own. So anyway, let's get to this news story. It's by Lisa Powell from Dayton.com. A local turreted landmark holds a ghostly legend. Lookout Tower, which is its actual name, Lookout Tower, known also as Frankenstein's Castle, Witch's Tower, and Patterson Castle, was completed in 1941 in what is now the Hills and Dales Park. Built to provide views of Community Country Club, it took a year for boys with the National Youth Administration to construct the 30-foot tall tower from salvaged stone. So basically a precursor to the Boy Scouts built it. Like a group of young men who, like, their thing is to make the community nicer. They salvaged all of these stone blocks from demolished buildings and stuff like that, and then built this out of it.
That's weird.
That's weird? I thought that was wholesome.
It is. It's kind of weird.
Okay, fine. The walls are more than 3 feet thick in some places, according to a 1941 Journal Herald story, marking the completion of the project. Inside, 50 stone steps spiral to the lookout platform that offered a view for about 15 miles. Now, this is where it gets a little creepier. Because the story does get creepy. It really does. The true story, I mean, gets creepy, not the one that I told you that was like made up. During the 1960s, the remote location encouraged vandals who painted names on the walls and left whiskey bottles and beer cans scattered on the grounds.
That's pretty scary.
Oh, man. Shingles torn from the roof and glass bottles were thrown at passing cars on Patterson Boulevard below.
Why would you tear the shingles off?
I guess because it was there. I don't know, man. Park maintenance crews boarded the door and later covered it with a steel gate, but the tower was repeatedly broken into. I actually read a story on a comment of this article about a guy talking about how, like, he and his buddies would literally climb all the way to the top, 30 feet up, to get into that thing to party. And he said that eventually it smelled so much like urine that they just stopped wanting to get in.
Yeah, I mean, you could just pee out of the window, though, right?
I mean, you could.
It's just not fun?
I feel like it's just not in the spirit of things.
Okay. All right.
Strange tales have surrounded Lookout Tower for decades, according to Chris Woodyard, author of more than a dozen books, including the Haunted Ohio series. I have all of those books.
Yay.
The Haunted Ohio books are epic. I started collecting them recently, and my mind was blown when it was like the publisher's address was literally a house address in Fairborn, Beaver Creek, Ohio, which is like 20 minutes from me.
Cool.
So I was like, oh, so it's not just about Haunted Ohio, but he's in the Dayton area. There have been sightings of eerie figures dancing around a fire and reports of unexplained scorch marks found on the ground.
Oh.
Yeah, because teenagers don't have fires and goof around.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets scary. But the most common story is the appearance of a ghostly girl and boy whenever lightning illuminates the sky. That intriguing tale is based in fact. And they have a photograph of a news article from the Dayton Daily News, and the headline says, Park Tower Death Trap for Bellbrook Girl, 16 years old.
Oh, no.
Peggy Harmison, a 16-year-old Bellbrook girl, died inside the tower when it was struck by lightning in 1967. She and 17-year-old Ronnie Stevens reportedly took shelter inside when a thunderstorm rolled in. Harmison was found dead, lying on the 11th step in the tower, half of her body covered in severe burns.
Wow.
Stevens survived but was uncontrollable when an ambulance arrived and was restrained in handcuffs.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Investigators theorized the couple was walking down the stairway when a lightning bolt ripped into the tower, the Journal Herald reported. Legend has it, after her death, visitors found burnt images of the girl within the tower. No matter how much they were scrubbed, the stains remained on the walls.
Huh. Are they still there?
Well, you can't get in. They've like really boarded it up now. It is very difficult to get in. Despite the sketchy stories, the tower, its doors sealed with concrete,
Oh, yeah.
still draws the curious. It used to just be a board.
Mm-hmm.
But places that appear spooky can be exhilarating, Woodyard said. Quote, I just wonder if to feel alive, to be fully feeling alive, we need this sense of fear and excitement. So I want to point out that one of my favorite things about this story is I'd heard the girl ghost and boy ghost story.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how the truth gets mixed up so quickly.
Yeah.
Because only the girl died in real life. But the part people remember is the boy and girl got struck by lightning in it.
Right.
But they forget the part where the guy didn't die.
Yeah.
The girl did. But I'm not going to lie. I never expected a place that looks comically dangerous and scary, to actually have a death happen there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would not expect that. I would expect it to all be hokum, So, did you have anything like that where you grew up?
I mean, not really, because I grew up in just kind of an area that was like a farm at one point, basically. Yeah. But we did have a pond at the back of our development that we called Devil's Pond.
Whoa! Tell me everything about Devil's Pond.
I don't know anything about it except that we called it Devil's Pond, and it was supposed to be bad.
Oh dear.
That's it.
That's it? That's
it's like the whole story. I don't know. I was a kid. It's a scary pond, I guess.
What was scary about the pond?
I don't know. It was like in the woods a little bit. Next to a house.
Was the house at least scary?
No, it's just a normal house. One of my friends got poison ivy there. That's scary.
Man, that's scary.
Yeah.
And then the story grew to they died horribly, even though you hung out with that person all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I wish that didn't predate it, but it did. So.
Oh, damn. Well.
Sorry, that was the whole story.
I mean, in my defense, or in your defense, it's not like it was within walking distance of where I grew up. What were you going to say?
I was going to say one of the schools in my school district, because we had lots of elementary schools because we were a big area. One of the schools I had heard that people when they were building it, they found bodies under it and it was
Oh.
haunted. There you go. There's
Oh,
one.
okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
The school right by where I lived, my elementary school, when I moved to this area,
Mhm.
there used to be rumors that there was a janitor that haunted it,
Oh.
that we called the night janitor.
Oh.
It was based on nothing. I've never been able to find anything about a janitor dying there or anything, ever. So some kid must have just made it up and said it once, and everybody took to it. The end.
Yeah.
The
Oh, well.
night janitor. But, Michelle, I wanted to grab a news story about your neck of the woods, if you will, and I will. So this article is from HuffPost.com. It says Pennsylvania parks officials release curious statement about Bigfoot warnings.
Wow.
Parks officials in Pennsylvania say they don't know who's posting signs warning of Bigfoot activity in the area, but it's not them. They also threw cold water on the notion that Sasquatch might be making a home in the Keystone State, or anywhere else for that matter. Quote, Bigfoot is not real, Wesley Robinson, press secretary for the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, told Penn Live. The signs state that there have been encounters in the area and call on visitors to, quote, observe elevated park etiquette, be cautious of your surroundings, and to keep location of any small children or pets within a tighter scope of awareness.
Wow.
You was this you? Did you do this?
I don't know. You didn't tell me where it was. It just said in Pennsylvania.
Oh, I'm pretty well. Let's see. It said, yeah. Let's see if maybe it'll say some more. Let's see. They also warn, quote, do not approach the creature. Robinson added that the signs, which have been turning up for months in many parks, are removed whenever spotted. Visitors have been posting images of the signs on social media, including one that drew a response from the Conservation Department, which runs the state parks. Oh my God, I love this notice because it's in English and Spanish.
Wow.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Let me see. I can read it. It says, due to encounters in the area of a creature resembling, quote, Bigfoot, we are instructing all park visitors to observe elevated park etiquette, to be cautious of your surroundings, and to keep location of any small children or pets within a tighter scope of awareness. Do not approach the creature. Report any sightings to a ranger, front office, or to the door or to the DCNR office of missing persons. Do not post sightings on social media. And then under it, it's just that in Spanish.
That's amazing.
I love that so much. And then on Twitter, the agency replied, oh my God, listen to the way the PA Department of Conservation and Natural Resources talks. They replied, nope. Rangers are aware and are removing them and investigating the situation. These were not posted by the DCNR, and is an unauthorized use of our logo. Ooh, we're going to get you for using our logo unauthorized. Ooh. That's the scariest part of this story, Michelle.
Yes, it is. I was just looking it up really quick too, and I see one coming up from the Inquirer, like the Philadelphia Inquirer. So it's probably local as well.
Ooh, well, it would make sense because, I mean, basically everybody lives in your state either in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. And then there's like 5 people elsewhere.
What about like Harrisburg or Allentown?
Never heard of them. No, there's people there. In fact, I was just in northeastern Pennsylvania. We should talk about Freddy Fest after this. Okay. But maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Part of me is wondering if the audience have been good boys and girls and deserve a little bit extra monthly spooky this month, because it is the spookiest month of them all. But we'll see. We'll see. Michelle's like, I have like work and a life that matters. Do you really need to keep taking my time? And I'm like, yes. The agency claims that Bigfoot isn't real, or the agency's claim that Bigfoot isn't real is unlikely to end the debate about the cryptid anytime soon, as searching for Sasquatch remains a popular pastime in parks around the nation. Oklahoma lawmakers even proposed a Bigfoot hunting season, complete with a cash prize, not to kill the creature, but just to find evidence of it. What were you going to say?
Oh. I was gonna say something, but I realized it wasn't about Bigfoot. It was about another cryptid.
Oh, go
So,
for it. Go for it.
there is according to something that I read or saw, the Vermont, has a conservation thing, for they have a lake monster in Lake Champlain, maybe?
Oh, Champy.
Yeah, and they have like a you can't hurt Champy like law.
They do. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, Champy. While the majority of Bigfoot sightings seem to take place in the Pacific Northwest and California, Pennsylvania has had its share of Sasquatch activity over the years. The Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization has 124, quote, credible sightings in Pennsylvania listed in its database, including someone who claims to have seen 2 and heard more of them
Wow.
whistling near his cabin in Harrison Valley.
Wow, I don't know where that is.
I don't either. That's so funny that when it said the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, I was like, wow, this sounds like the thing we made up for Boggy Creek, the series, the TV series I directed. Like, that's what we did, a Bigfoot TV series. And yeah, we had the oh, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of it now. It was like the Yeti Organization of America or something like that. Hey, I made the show like 4 years ago. Come on.
It's okay.
So Michelle, it's time to head back to haunts. We have a story from mirror.co.uk. Wait, I totally skipped something though. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
No.
Yeah, me neither. It's okay.
I mean, if I believe in him, he'd have to be like an extra dimensional being, because there's no way people are like, oh, I see him, but then he was gone and no one ever saw him or got an actually good video.
Well,
I
plus,
really,
yeah. Oh, sorry.
yeah, no.
Oh, I was just going to plus, just never finding a corpse.
Yeah, that's why he's probably extra dimensional.
Well, and it gets really challenging. I hate that, if you believe in Bigfoot and stuff like that, rock and roll. My biggest problem is there would have to be plenty of them to keep reproducing too. I mean, it always feels like there's just like 2 is what it always feels like.
Well, what if they just live for like thousands of years?
I mean, that wouldn't go against all general logic about mammals.
I mean, trees live a really long time. I know they're not mammals, but like some plants don't live for a long time, and then trees live for a really long time. So maybe we just don't know something.
Man, you're putting that bachelor's degree to work for you, aren't you? Gee. All right. This next story is from mirror.co.uk. Haunted sanatorium where thousands of patients died and you can play ball with a ghost.
Wow.
A former sanatorium saw barbaric experiments on its thousands of patients in a bid to cure their tuberculosis. Tuberculosis, by the way, is a very important thing for your people from the Bronx and such. Because it's one of the few illnesses that they can pronounce incorrectly. Tuberculosis. Basically, you guys only have tuberculosis and herpes. Everything else you pronounce normally.
Oh.
But tuberculosis and herpes.
Interesting.
Just a little thing for those of you with an ancestral homeland in the Bronx and surrounding areas. Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky opened its doors in 1910 in an attempt to contain an outbreak of tuberculosis known then as the, quote, White Plague.
Wow.
Whoa, that's offensive.
Yeah.
In Jefferson County, and was thought of as one of the most advanced hospitals in the country. I love that this was thought as one of the most advanced hospitals in the country. Like, anyway, here's how they tortured people to death. Love it. The good old days, The good old days. Not a cell phone in sight, just people living in the moment, torturing tuberculosis patients to death. The site closed in 1961 and is today believed to be one of the country's most haunted locations. That's saying something if it's in the United States, that it's the most haunted location. It's like, what about the Conjuring House? What about the Amityville Horror House? What about I almost said Parliament. What is wrong with me? I've been reading too many stories from the UK. The Capitol building. More than 50,000 patients are thought, oh my God, more than 50,000 patients are thought to have died there.
Wow.
That's like a war.
Yeah. Yeah.
According to some estimates. Oh, of course, yeah. Although more conservative numbers suggest it may have been as low as 6,000.
Okay.
See,
I mean, I was afraid it was going to be like 3.
Some conservative estimates are no one at all died there. You're like, wait, hold on. Numbers are fun.
Mm-hmm.
The derelict and graffitied site has become a favorite among ghost hunters and tours who search the halls and structures that remain largely as they were when it was in use. They just don't build them like they used to, you know?
Yeah, really.
A particularly macabre feature of interest is the 500-foot-long body chute that the dead bodies were dumped down so the sanatorium's live residents would not see how many people were dying.
Yeah. Yeah. I know about this.
You do?
Yeah, I think I probably saw some ghost hunters go to this place before.
I often forget. See, when I think of you, Michelle, I think of you as a relatively highbrow person, except for all the anime. And, and I forget that you love trash television.
Just some of it, not all of it.
Fine. You don't watch like Real Housewives of Orange County, but you would probably watch Real Housewives of Ghost Hunters.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I mean, unless they were hunting ghosts, not if they were just like, we like no ghost hunters because they're our husbands.
Spooky problems we have. With so many agonizing deaths on its grounds, Waverly Hill's reputation as a haunted location has only grown over the years. One of the site's most well-known ghosts is a playful boy called Timmy, who is said to interact with the visitors. Oh, that Timmy.
Aw.
I mean, does he just like kick the ball and then cough and cough and cough? And then kick the ball? Poor Timmy. All they have to do is roll a ball down one of the long corridors and he will creepily roll it back. And not because they didn't level the ground in the hallway. What's the oldest building you've inspected?
Honestly, I think like 1915 or something, but I'm inspecting a house tomorrow that's 1890, so that'll be the oldest. Yeah.
So like, wow, the Old West was happening when that house was built.
I guess.
See, I live in Ohio. You live in Pennsylvania. Ohio, we don't have a lot of places that old.
Mm-hmm.
But out where you are, you have, well, the further you get to the ocean, you know, because when I lived in New Jersey, it was like, this apartment was built in 1894, you know, like it just, like everything was old as hell.
Yeah.
Not everything, but a lot. A lot of stuff was very old.
I mean, yeah, and they had like asked me like, "Oh, are you comfortable inspecting old homes?" So I thought like, "Oh, 1700." And I looked at like 1890. I was like, "Yeah.
I got this one.
Not that old."
Yeah. This house didn't even see slavery. Pathetic. No, that's the thing. Like I remember where I used to work in New Jersey was in a converted rubber mill factory. Like everything was just like an old thing repurposed.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, in Ohio, we're like, let's knock it down and make something nice and new and pretty. She's shaking her head in total rage. She's frothing at the mouth now. Now she's put that knife down, Michelle. Put it down.
No, it's okay.
Oh, never mind. She's just putting schmear on a bagel. Yeah. All right, we're good. We're good. Do you use the word schmear?
No.
Oh, that makes me sad. All right. Other ghostly residents include a nurse who hung herself in room 502, where other staff allegedly jumped out of the window to their death, and which is the location of heavy paranormal activity. While a man dressed in white hangs around the kitchen where food can sometimes be smelled in the air. Why is that one I don't know to you?
Yeah, because like smells can like hang around in buildings, you know.
Since the 60s?
Sure. I don't know. Maybe if there's like grease all over the place.
That's true.
And also people matrix smells a lot. Like when you think you smell something because you smell like other things around it and your brain goes, oh, that's food. So I don't do phantom smells.
You heard it. That needs to be the next monthly spooky t-shirt. It's just a picture of you scrunching your face and says, I don't do phantom smells. Which, by the way, if you love what we do on Monthly Spooky once a month, you can go to weeklyspooky.com and you can get yourself a Monthly Spooky t-shirt or hoodie. Just figured I'd sell that real quick. Although the 400-bed sanatorium was designed to help patients, many of them were subject to seemingly cruel experiments. One included exposing them to extreme weather, and stories tell of patients sat freezing in chairs in front of huge open windows while covered in snow.
Oh, God.
This'll get the tuberculosis out of you. We just know it.
Well,
We just
it'll
know
kill
it.
it.
Yeah. What are you hoping to accomplish with that? I guess what? I can't even play devil's advocate. I have no idea what they were hoping to accomplish with that.
Maybe they thought if they lowered their body temperature enough, the tuberculosis wouldn't be able to survive or something.
I guess, but I mean, that's theoretical, but we know humans die when you do that.
You just got to get it right in the sweet spot.
You got to hit that perfect balance right there.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff. The most notorious experiments involved implanting balloons in a patient's lungs, which were then filled with air, or even removing a few ribs in the belief that it would allow more oxygen into the lungs. At least that sounds like it's in the ballpark of curing tuberculosis because it's a lung issue. At least it involves the lungs.
I don't know. That now I'm scared. They're just like, oh, we'll just take out your ribs. You don't need those.
Yeah. You don't need all of them. You've got tons of them.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to dip your feet in this tank with piranha in it, to see if they can scare the tuberculosis out of your body. Everybody's afraid of piranhas. I'm terrified. These attempts at curing patients often did more damage than good. You don't say. And many did not survive the blood-stained surgery.
Oh.
Tuberculosis was in decline in the 1940s. Oh, bummer. So they were like, we're going to have to close. We're all going to lose our jobs if people don't start getting more tuberculosis. Come on, people. Cough on each other. Largely thanks to developments in medicine, which I guess had nothing to do with that hospital. They were like, listen, we're old school here. We kill you. That's it. We don't bother with this whole medicine thing. I was just talking with some friends yesterday about how I wish I missed my real calling in life, which is to be a doctor in 1915. Because somebody come in, doc, my arm really hurts. Here's some morphine. Wow, I feel great. $30. Doc, my son just never listens to me, and I think he's hanging out with a rough crowd. Here's some morphine. Wow, I feel so much better. $30. Oh, I miss that. I miss those days that I wasn't even vaguely alive for.
Yeah.
However, it reopened as what? However, it reopened as a hospital for the elderly and mentally handicapped for the following year and stayed open for another 20 years. Why would the elderly and the mentally handicapped be tag teamed? It feels like that's not fair.
Maybe they, because some of the elderly had Alzheimer's and stuff, so they were like, it's all the same thing.
So it was open for another 20 years, despite reports of patient mistreatment before being abandoned as a haunting reminder of a diseased past. That's mortifying.
Yeah.
Great. Man, that's not cool, man.
Yeah, I guess that's not the one. There's one that was like a sanatorium and then a sanitarium and then a prison. But I guess that's not that one.
I guess it's not this one. I like how it's like, they're multi-purpose buildings. We can do lots of great things here that hurt people. I sometimes when I read about these old hospitals, I just wonder if psychosis was in the air. If dealing with sick people all day just drove the medical practitioners crazy. Because some of the things you hear about, I don't understand how you would land on the conclusion to do the things they did.
I think also they were probably really desperate,
That's a really good point.
Because these people, at least at the beginning, before I guess they figured out how to cure tuberculosis, they were going to die. So they were just like, what can we do? What haven't we tried? And so they did really bad things.
It's like, well, we haven't tried putting them in front of an open window in the dead of winter.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Stevie, we're going to try that. Yes. Finally, everything's coming up, Stevie.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we're going to go to a quick break. Michelle, I'm going to let you choose. Do you want to go into advice from 1921 about Halloween celebration, or do you want me to go into telling you the tale of the golden arm?
I guess we could do advice first, and then we could.
Okay, that sounds good to me. So after this break, we're going to go ahead and tell you all about how to throw a perfect Halloween party based on a 1921 advice book right after these messages. Welcome back, my spookies. Michelle and I are here, and now we want to provide a public service because it's 1 week to the day from Halloween, and you may be having a Halloween party or going to a Halloween party. Well, you need to know very important things that could make the party a good time. Michelle, why are you making that face?
I don't know.
Or are you throwing a Halloween party this year?
No.
The look on your face, you're just like, obviously not. Well, I used to throw Halloween parties a lot. I need to get back into the swing, and maybe this will help. So what I've procured is a copy of Dennison's Bogey Book, which was a book about how to celebrate Halloween, which, by the way, in this time was spelled Halloween, Hallowe''en was how they spelled it.
Okay.
This is from 1920.
Oh.
Halloween is still pretty new when this book comes out. And they would release it every year with new, hip, fun ways to throw a Halloween party. And I thought this would be something fun we could check out on the show.
Yeah.
So you ready for this one?
Okay.
You're like, no, not even vaguely. So this chapter 1 is parties to give at Halloween time. When you give a Halloween party. Halloween, the night of October 31st, is the one time of all the year when an opportunity is supposed to be given for looking into the future and having one's fate settled for the coming 12 months. Yeah, this is why I wanted to read this, because Halloween is so different in so many ways.
Yeah, I thought that was like New Year's, but okay.
Oh, is New Year's when you hold like seances and look into your future?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about you and your druid family.
Yeah.
You're like, you always forget about my druid family. Why not invite your friends to a Halloween party and join in the fun of trying some of the time-honored ways of finding out what the future holds in store? Ooh. The traditions of this eerie night never change, but there are new ways of adapting them for parties. New ways of decorating, new forms of playing the old games, and tricks that will help make the Halloween party really successful. This is the other reason I wanted to read this. I love the 1920s especially had all these guidebooks that would just guide you on how to be liked by people.
Yeah.
That was like the goal. It's funny because now our magazines and stuff are subtle. Like they won't just say like, do this to be liked. It'll be a little bit more subtle than that. Like this is the fresh new thing, or this is really cool. No, this is just like, if you want people to like you, follow our guidance. Or die. Because the advertisement on the front says Halloween is the one time of year when witches, ghosts, and elves hold gay revels. Oh dear. Come and join them. This book tells how. I can't not read it in that voice too, because it's written in that voice. This book tells how. Conventionality may be set aside and all sorts of games and stunts be used to entertain your guests. Although the opportunities for entertainment are more diversified and informal than for almost any other occasion, still the details of the Halloween party must be carefully arranged. And remember, this is 100 years ago, almost exactly. Like it's 102 years ago.
Wow.
And Halloween is not quite Halloween yet.
Yeah.
Because it's, like I said, it has the apostrophe in the ween, which sounds like a medical problem. Whether you are entertaining at home or at the club,
Whoa.
All right, let's get it turned. Boogie, 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 boogie.
Yeah.
At the club. I'm guessing it means like the Elks Club or something, or the Shriners
Yeah.
Club. Something wholesome and sad. Be sure to ask your guests to come in costume. It will introduce a gay color note, add to the fun, and be in keeping with the spirit of the day. When the party is a large one, instead of all playing one game in which only 2 or 3 can take an active part, divide the company into groups of 6 or 8 and have progressive games.
Wow. Sounds like something bad that would happen at school.
What? You didn't like when they picked teams?
No,
Did that not go well for you?
not really.
When I was in elementary school, it was me and this kid named Jim, who were like, it was like we had to battle over who was last to be picked for teams. Because people were like, I'll take Jim. And I'd be like, damn, I went down even further on the social ladder. Or they'd be like, we'll take Henrique. And I'd be like, oh man, poor Jim. And for the record, it wasn't because I was unathletic. It was just that I was unliked. All right. So it was that they hated me. Have a different game for each group, allow 10 or 15 minutes for each game, and then move to the same as for any progressive game. Scores should be kept and a prize awarded at the end of the evening for the highest score. Have the score. This is so much work.
Yeah.
You know what makes parties fun? Math.
Yeah.
That's what this is basically saying. Like, don't you enjoy math? We do. Have the scorecards made in such a way that they may be worn and so be always at hand.
I don't like any of this.
Well, I'm not trying to be edgy, but your people don't really like having things pinned to you, like to your clothes without your consent. I get that. I watched The Patient on FX. I'm very, very aware of the struggle. Okay. Besides, my people brought your people to this country. I'll never forget when I called you. I was like, you're welcome. I found out Portuguese sailors brought Judaism to America. I was like, you are welcome. Tell your parents they're welcome. A bracelet scorecard. Oh, that's kind of nice. Actually. A bracelet scorecard for the girls and a scorecard attached to a neck scarf for the men are shown on page 7.
Oh.
A neck scarf. That one's weird. And the photograph of people partying, by the way, is a woman wearing a dress that's half black and half orange with a tall kind of jester hat, and a man wearing just a frilly gown with like polka dots that are black and it's orange. He looks like the Queen of Hearts almost.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, like but there is a devil on her dress.
Okay.
Scandalous. There is apt to be a lull after the refreshments have been served. A few stunts at the table will liven up the party. The reading of the papers written for a calendar of events described on page 21 will fill any possible dull moment with pearls of laughter.
Wow.
Life was just not that fun.
I don't know.
Back in the day.
I like
You
this
like this?
better because like you go to parties now and it's just like music and you don't know what to do, and here you sit and and you're just supposed to laugh at people when they tell you pearls of wisdom.
I guess, and you're right. It's like kind of like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Well, Denizen's Bogey Book will tell you exactly what to do with thy hands. The suggestions on the following pages may be adapted for home parties or dances for either children or adults and simplified or elaborated as occasion requires. They are planned so that the busy hostess may achieve the most delightful and unusual results with the least possible outlay of either time or money.
Oh.
I like how they, like, it's a lot of words to just say what, like, we all are thinking, like, can it be cheap and easy, please? So, let's see. All right. So this next chapter is a lively home party for Halloween. Are you excited to learn?
Yeah.
All right. Perhaps you think there are no witches, haven't even winced at just the thought of spooks and things. Well, come and be convinced at my party on blank, blank, blank at blank, blank, blank o'clock.
So
Yeah.
sorry.
No. It's just that's like an invitation.
Do you like send that to people or do you just post that on the telephone pole?
I Also, this child is missing. Like, it's just, I guess I would assume that you would hand deliver those to your friends and loved ones whom you wish to
Oh.
share a spooky good time. Eh?
What if you don't have any of those things?
Oh, then I guess the phone pole. Yeah.
Okay.
like in Murder Party. Just, dude, you went to a thing called a murder party with no one you know there. Maybe you deserve to get killed. When your guests arrive, the door should swing open, apparently mated, and it says hall should be entirely dark except for a few very faint green lights that may be followed to the dressing rooms.
Oh.
If your guests are not in costume, the hostess dressed as a witch should give each one a hat, a necktie, or some other dress accessory to wear. 2 should be alike, or they may be numbered in duplicate and later matched for the first dance or game. So you number that stuff to like pull people together later.
Gross.
Decorate the living rooms with vivid orange and black. The doorway windows, even sorry, this is a little hard to read because it's a scan of an old book.
Mhm.
Chandelier and fireplace can all be effectively dressed up. The doorway shown will give any timid guest a thrill as she tries to enter the room without encountering the dangling spider. I like that it says timid guest and then she. Like, it's like, because it will be a woman is what they're saying. That's just one of those little things. It's just subtle.
Yeah.
The dangling spider. To copy it, fasten natural branches above the door frame and suspend orange, yellow, and black crepe paper moss from them, allowing it to hang very irregularly. Make the spider of black crepe paper and wire and suspend it by fine elastic. The web is made of string or crepe paper rope. Attach strips of crepe paper border. Wow. And it has detailed instructions.
That's nice. It's not going to scare anyone because it doesn't look anything like a spider, but sure.
What, you're not afraid of that spider doesn't look average.
I'm not scared of weird spiders.
Well, we're going to move on because the next 2 pages is just how to cut out and create these little things to pin to your guests.
Okay.
But I will point out one is a cat with a black cat with a scared face. One is a creepy ghost. One is a witch on a broom. One is one of those classic black cats screaming. One is just a scary witch. And one is a jack-o'-lantern with an O face. Like, ooh.
Okay.
So let's move on. Let's get out of the crafts. Oh gosh, this is a lot of crafts. A lot of crafts. Oh, here we go. Chapter 2, Club Parties and Dances for Halloween. A dinner dance. Of various kinds, from decorative crepe paper and pasting them on large sheets of cardboard, figures from 2 or 3 different patterns were often combined with good results. Wow, this is so much about decoration, which I guess makes sense.
Because nothing else is happening at the party. It's just making it look nice.
Halloween is an ideal time to have a dinner dance at the club. The decorations, favors, and entertainment can be arranged with less work on the part of the committee than for almost any other kind of party, and coming as it does at the beginning of the winter season, it gives a wonderful opportunity for an informal get-together. Yeah, this feels so informal, just totally cash. Like, we're just sitting backwards in chairs rapping about spookies, Like,
Yeah.
This doesn't feel intense at all. Not at all. All right, let's see if we can get to some party games.
I don't think there are any.
You don't think there are?
No.
Oh, well, maybe you're right. Wow. Actually, you would like this book. There's so many crafts, and you like crafts.
I do like crafts.
Oh, goodness. I found an entire page of party games. Are you excited? I'm excited.
Yay.
Chapter 3, Games, Stunts, and Costumes for Halloween Parties. Getting the fun started. Certain old-time games and stunts are a part of every Halloween party. The customs and superstitions that belong to this weird night are almost all connected in some way with future wedded bliss or material welfare.
I don't want to do this anymore.
You don't want material welfare?
I just don't think that that's what they meant for me.
Well, I mean, yeah. A lot of these, I will say, are slumber party games now.
Oh.
Or at least versions of them.
Hmm.
Do not fail, therefore, at some time during the evening to have your guests bob for apples in a tub of water, peel apples in one continuous piece, and throw the peelings over their left shoulders so that they may fall on the floor to form the initials of their future mate.
Oh.
Blow out lighted candles to determine the number of years that will elapse before marriage. These are only a few of the well-known methods of finding out what the future holds. You probably know many more that are too well known to require explanation. Okay, so first of all, this book is very exciting because this is clearly for young people.
Uh-huh.
Because, you wouldn't, if you're there with your husband, you wouldn't be like, but who will I really marry?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they'd get a little uncomfortable pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, Michelle, will you play one of these games with me so we can find out who you're going to marry?
No.
Fine. You're mean. Also, I like that there are many more ways that I'm sure you already know about. Like, what is with these young people in Conjuring in the 1920s? It's like all they know is like weird party games. I do have a theory, Michelle, that stuff like this from the earliest days of Halloween is why in the 1980s and 90s you had all those Christian people hating on Halloween.
Right.
Because I really do think that the earliest times of Halloween had a lot of stuff that felt occulty. Like whimsically, obviously. I mean, you read this, it's like clearly whimsical. But I do think that maybe they look back and they're like, meanwhile, when we were kids having Halloween, it was literally just about candy costumes and what was on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
But I think they were like, when I was a kid, we would summon demons. It's like, yeah, you guys were different. All right. You guys were different.
I mean, according to this, all they did was find out who they were going to marry, though.
Until the initials of the one apple peel spell Satan.
So there are probably people named Satan.
I don't think there are.
And I mean, maybe.
There have been many requests for reprinting in this year's edition of the Bogey Book, A Gruesome Tale that appeared in 1920 something or 19 edition. I can't read that. It's all scrapped out. Okay, so here's the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the name of the game.
Oh, okay.
After dancing a few minutes, have the music stop and line the men in one row and the girls in another. I like it's men and girls. Facing each other. Tell the men to move down one and dance with the girl opposite. The man at the head of the line goes to the other end and dances with the girl who is left without a partner. In a few minutes, repeat, but this time have the men move down 2, dance again, then move down 3, and finally 4. That's it. Well, okay, so there's no way to win that.
No.
But it is a good way to break the ice and make everybody more comfortable with each other.
Oh, totally. I'm so comfortable now.
I don't mean somebody like you. I mean like people,
Does that work?
I don't know. But my point is that like it would be awkward. I think that's the point, is that you end up like by the end of it, you're just laughing about it because everybody's doing it.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's the most brilliant idea in the world, but I'm saying like I think I get it. It's an icebreaker game.
Yeah. I mean, this is stuff I used to do in like middle school. Let's not.
You did that in middle school?
Well, yeah, like with line dancing and like dance.
You line danced in middle school?
Yeah.
I didn't line dance in middle school.
When did you line dance?
I've never line danced.
What do you mean?
I'm being dead serious. I've never line danced. What are you talking about?
They have the dance unit in gym.
What?
Where you have to line dance.
We never danced in gym class.
Really?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I would remember that. Because it would have been scarring when none of the girls wanted to dance with me.
It's very upsetting.
Wow. You line danced?
I'm more concerned that you didn't line dance, because everybody line dances in school. Right?
I can't think of a single reason why you would line dance.
Because you have to? Because it's part of the curriculum?
Not ours. I do not know what you're talking about. That is so weird. Okay, here's the next game. Blindfolded partners. Line the men on one side of the room and the girls on the other. Blindfold them all, and at a given signal, start them all to meet each other. When a man meets a girl, they shake hands and become partners. If the guests are shifted about a bit after they are blindfolded and before they start to meet each other, they will be more confusion and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Like, don't you want to do that?
I don't want to go to this party.
Oh, you're throwing this party.
Oh.
Ooh, this one's called A Ghostly Fate. The men are lined up in one row and the girls in another, facing each other. A blindfolded ghost goes to the men's line, takes one by the hand and goes across and touches a girl. These two are to be partners. This continues until all have partners.
Okay.
Why are you so mad?
I don't like this.
Okay, well, that was done. That was it. That was the whole game.
The whole game?
That was that game. The Witches' Cats. You'd like witches and cats?
Is it about getting married again?
We're gonna find out. If I know anything, yes. The Witches' Cats. Before the dance, a number of cat cutouts should be hidden about the room.
Oh.
There should be one extra man, or possibly there'll be an extra girl. Announce that the witch has lost her 9 cats, and if one of them can be found by the person without a partner, it will bring him good luck and he may dance with anyone he wishes. Michelle, that's inappropriate.
Oh.
Made a gun to her head gesture. That's offensive. You're not allowed to die if I can't. The deposed partner may in turn hunt for a black cat and so get another partner. If the party is large, several people may hunt for the cats at the same time, so the cutting in will become quite lively.
Wow.
So that's like a dancing version of like a white elephant party. You start trading, and trading. Most of these games are just to get everybody to break the ice and be around each other, I will say.
Yeah.
So, and back then people were so, repressed that it was good to have an excuse. Like, well, this is a party game where you like talk to lots of people. Michelle, maybe you didn't learn the lessons you were supposed to while you were line dancing. I'm just saying. All right. The next event is called a calendar of events. Oh, wow. This one, this is fun because it starts with pass pencils and papers on which are written in a column the months of the year.
Wow.
Each is to sign his name, and having folded the paper down so that the name cannot be read, pass it to the right. Then opposite, January, each is to write what he would like to do during the coming January. This is folded and passed and so continued until all the doings for the year are completed.
Okay.
The papers are then collected and the hostess will read what each one will do during the coming year. Then you line the men and women up. No, I'm just kidding. That's not it. If preferred, these papers may be kept and read at the refreshment table. There's one that wasn't about meeting a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
But don't worry, we're correcting that. This next game is called the Matrimonial Race. This is going to be the most lit Halloween party ever, Michelle, and you know it. Carry to a goal at the opposite side of the room a spoonful of small round candies in one hand and a potato balanced on a knife blade in the other.
What?
These people are on morphine. This is a real guide from the 1920s on how to throw a Halloween party. I'm starting to feel like I made it up because some of this is so bizarre.
Yeah.
To win, however, all of the candies and the potato must arrive at the goal in their original positions. The winner of this race will be the first of the company to be married. The Cup of Fate. I think I've heard of this one before. Place 3 cups or saucers on the table. Half fill one with water, another with milk, and the third with vinegar. Let each person blindfolded dip a finger in the first cup touched. If it contains milk, married life will be happy. If vinegar, one's future wife or husband will have a sour disposition, and if the cup contains water, single blessedness is in store. Many, many cats in your future. The position of the cups may be changed before each trial. Okay, I hadn't heard of that one. I thought it was the one where you pour candle wax into a cup of water, and whatever form it is something to do with your married life.
Okay.
All right. Halloween wills. Ooh. Plan your stunts so that just at midnight a ghost story shall be told. I'm into this one now. A few minutes before this, arrange the boys and girls. No, I'm just kidding. A few minutes before this, tell your guests that as there is no telling what terrible things may happen on Halloween, all should be prepared by making their wills. Bring in a lawyer for each man and woman. No, this party's getting so expensive so quickly. Pass wide sheets of paper numbered from 1 to 5 in 3 columns across the paper. At the top of the sheet is written, "The last will of blank." Each guest is to write his name. I think they just use it interchangeably. I don't think it actually is meant to be about gender, because literally it seems like it's alternating his and her, his and her, his and her. Because there's no, like it said, the hostess will do this, but it doesn't say anywhere that a man and a girl have to throw this party.
Right.
So I think they're just using it interchangeably. It's so funny looking at how English changed in 100 years.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the heck? Each guest is to write his name, and in the first column, a list of 5 of his most valued possessions.
And his credit card number.
And his social security number. And all of his fears and allergies. The papers are then to be folded so that this list is folded under, and the papers are then to be passed to the right. A list of 5 persons is then to, gotta turn the page, is then to be written, and the papers again folded. There's so much folding.
Yeah.
And passed. Finally, a list of 5 uses is to be written, and the papers again passed to the right. They are then unfolded and read. It may be very enlightening to learn that John Smith's will includes his set of golf clubs to Mary Smith to use repairing a broken window. This does not make any sense to me.
It's Mad Libs.
Oh, I'm so dumb. Or brilliant. Oh my God.
What?
There's an entire ghost story.
They just have one in there?
It's the next page.
Oh.
I was gonna wrap this up, but now we're gonna have to go to, when we go to break, we're gonna have to come back and do a little bit more of this.
Okay.
I am sorry.
That's okay.
As we line up the men and girls on either side of the room. Fortune telling game. You like fortune? On plain squares of white paper, write with baking soda mixed with water such names as doctor, lawyer, dentist, farmer, banker, etc. When playing the game, have all the guests seated on the floor and turn all lights very low. Go from guest to guest with a lighted candle. Each may know the occupation of his future helpmeet by holding the blank paper above the candle. The heat from the blaze will turn the written words brown.
Oh.
I would write depressed lawyer and like corpse, just like all these terrible things. All right. So that one was called Fortune Telling Game, but this one is just called Fortunes. Hollow out a rather small pumpkin and put into it small numbered cards or small witch, cat, or pumpkin cutouts, numbered on the back. Pass the pumpkin and allow each guest to draw out a card. As each person tells the number of his card, the hostess will read a fortune from a numbered list that has been prepared beforehand. These have so much legwork.
Yeah.
We're almost done with games.
Okay.
Apple 10 pins. Stick 3 matches into an apple so that it will stand. Set up 10 of them like 10 pins and give each player an apple to serve as a ball. The player who can knock down the most in 3 shots is the winner.
Yay, bowling, sort of.
It will be well to test out before the party the distance that will be best to have the players stand from the pins.
Yeah, you don't want to find out that nobody can hit them at all because you put them like on the other side of the house.
I mean, to me, that's hilarious. But
Yeah.
family ghosts.
Okay.
In the invitation to the party, request each one bring a, quote, family ghost, something that is a dead one as far as he is concerned. That's it. That's the entire instruction. That's all it said. That one was creepy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't even know where to go from that. That was creepy. All right, well, we're going to go to break real quick. And when we get back, we're going to finish up the Dennison Bogey Books Games for Halloween and read a ghost story they included just for telling at midnight on Halloween. Right after these words. Welcome back, my friends, my spookies. We're going to finish up this this Denizens Bogey book, a 1920s guide to a Halloween party where basically the only goal is to get married.
Yeah.
And knock apples down with other apples.
Yes. Yes.
So this next game is called Spinning the Web of Fate. Draw a large spider web on a sheet of orange mat stock. Write fortunes in the different sections. Let each guest spin a top on the web. When it stops, his fate stands revealed.
Oh.
I like how they don't tell you what fortunes to write either. So it's like your little egg itches. Like it's just like
that would be a good one because my leg does itch.
You'd be like, ooh.
It knows.
So this is the last one in Denizen's Bogey book. This one is called Ghostly Lights.
Oh.
When a ghost story is to be told, we're leading into the ghost story that they include. When a ghost story is to be told, seat your guests in a circle on the floor. In the center, place 3 or 4 lighted candles. This is very dangerous.
Yes.
As the telling of the story proceeds, the candles go out, one by one, until at the climax, the last candle goes out, leaving the room in total darkness. Spooky. The secret of this is to cut the candles in 2 and then put them together again by heating the 2 pieces slightly. Of course, when the candle has burned down to the cut in the wick, it will go out. That's clever.
Yeah, it is.
This is the first thing that the whole thing that I'm like, that's neat, actually.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm going to remember that. Cut each candle a little lower down so that they will be sure to go out one at a time.
You just got to be careful because it's still got to be enough time. You know, like how you got to time it like perfectly. The last one was supposed to go out at the climax. So like, how are you going to do that?
Well, let me tell you, after 160 episodes of Weekly Spooky, storytelling is hard. The last line was, try one candle before cutting the others to find out how long it will burn between the 2 points. So it does say to test it.
Okay. Smart.
Wow. Okay, so this next page is Denison's Bogey book, A Ghost Story. So I'm going to read this ghost story, Michelle, which is a very big change of pace from what we usually do on this channel. I just found out I could zoom in better on this, and it has more.
Good.
Oh my gosh, it looks so much better. I can't believe. I thought the scan was crap, but it was my fault. Okay, so this says a ghost story, and then in parentheses it says the storyteller first instructs the guests that during the telling of the story they are to do, quote, just as I did, i.e., when the story runs, I closed my tired eyes, they should do so.
Wait. Okay, so got it.
So, Michelle, I guess you'll do what I say as I...
Sure.
Here is a story, believe it or no. It happened to me, and I know it is so. The scene of the tale is a graveyard at night, so chilly, so damp, and not one bit of light. To show you what happened, pretend I am you. Then you take my place, and what I did, you do. As I tell the story, do not be alarmed, but do as I do, and you shall not be harmed. When I first sat down, it was sunny and bright. I closed my tired eyes and awake late at night. The night was jet black, not a thing could I see, and yet I heard voices quite close to me. I listened in terror, then fell to my knees. My hands I clasped tightly, bloody ready to freeze. For they were the voices of spirits so close, and one in particular, loud and morose. I'm the ghost of a murderer, he said quite clear. I crave human company, now it is here. For years in this graveyard I've ruled, if you please, and claim what I find here among the old trees. You're mine, came his shout, a heart-rendering shrill note, and cold bony hands took a grip on my throat. The grip seemed to loosen, then tighten with zest. I sat terror-stricken, afraid to protest. Perhaps I can teach you some lessons, he moaned. I'll show you my victims. Oh, joy, how they groaned. Then he led me away with his dry, bony hand to tomb after tomb till I hardly could stand. Now, in parentheses, it says, a closet in a darkened room has been prepared by placing therein 2 assistants with articles needed to impersonate the victims.
Oh.
White, green, or yellow crepe paper forms the walls of the tomb, and one assistant shines a flashlight on the other, who impersonates the victims. The bony-handed spook may handle the flashlight. He leads the guests into this darkened room one by one. Then they join hands and are led to the tomb. After they have seen the first victim, they are led around the room in a bit and return to the closet, which is now a tomb. Number 2, in exhibiting the victims, the ghost explains them one by one. What do you think of this one so far?
I don't think it would be scary.
You think it would be scary?
No.
No? What?
No.
Rhyming is terrifying.
I don't think rhyming is scary at all.
Really?
Sorry. Yeah.
Wow. What if it was a love poem someone wrote you? Wouldn't that be, though?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Sorry, I scared you too much. I didn't mean to. Here's the ghost explaining.
Okay.
My first is the Iceman. I killed the old crook. He now has no ice now, but is here with his hook. Has cardboard ice hook with which he tries to reach guests. In parentheses. Next is the coal man I murdered with glee. His heart is a hard lump of coal, you can see. And then it says ghost reaches towards his heart and pulls out a lump of coal. I throttled this radio bug, for he'd tell of getting long distance. At last he got hell. Wears a headset and keeps hissing, shh, shh, shh. That one's completely lost on me. I have no idea
what's going on.
Is a radio bug like a person who uses the phone a lot or something?
I don't know.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Now business is picking up. This poor boob once showed me the hooch on his shelf. I just strung him up and drank it myself. Ghost is hanging with a rope around his neck. That's safe.
Yeah, exactly.
I warned this fast driver, but he wouldn't heed. So then I just stabbed him. The hearse didn't speed. That one's good. Ghost in imaginary car drives straight at the guests. Who did this? Did anyone do this is what I want to know.
Nobody did this.
No. He tried to ensure my life. How he did talk. I pulled off his talking arm that killed the gawk.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what that meant at all. And then in parentheses it said, arm made of stick, hinged in the middle, with rubber bands stretched from one end to the other is extended by the ghost. As the guest takes it, it doubles up. Okay. Miss Flapper de Jazz danced her full self to death, and still she keeps dancing without any breath.
So he didn't kill her?
I mean, well, it suggests she's dead.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like he killed her.
You would be the worst person to encounter a rhyming ghost. I'm just going to say that. And I don't mean to hurt your feelings.
It's okay.
I hope your mother doesn't hear me saying that.
It's okay.
But,
she probably would agree.
In parentheses, it says this may be a cardboard skeleton made to dance on a string, or she may be a ghost, leave the tomb to dance with the guests.
Mm.
And then there's an asterisk says, here lights are turned out. Oh yeah, there's instructions for while you're speaking. Wow. Is that it for the ghost story? That's it for the ghost story.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we have a little bit of time to go over gay costumes that are part of every Halloween party.
Okay.
Unless you think that's inappropriate.
I mean, I don't see anything inappropriate about gay people. So
First ye shall dress as Liberace. No, weird designs in bright orange in contrast with black make it possible to create very striking costumes for the Halloween party with very little work. This book is nothing but work. This book is a full-time job.
I know, this is ridiculous.
Only an idiot like me would do all of this effort to scare my friends at a party. Just saying.
You're going to do this, huh?
Oh my God. I'm not going to lie. Part of me wants to. You know, I'm a person who, when I threw a Christmas party one year, I handed out printouts of the Tales from the Crypt 12 Days of Cryptmas song. I handed out printouts of the lyrics and made everyone sing it with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably do this, but I'm an idiot. Like, don't follow after me. Many crepe paper costumes are made over a muslin foundation to which the paper is sewed or pasted as seems best. For this kind of costume, regular dress patterns may be used, but they are not often necessary. The paper may be sewed by hand or on the sewing machine. The slipover costume is a style that is very popular for an informal party. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't know like who the crepe paper manufacturer was at the time, but I think that they were like sponsored by them, because
I would assume Denizens is a crepe manufacturing company that publishes this book.
Oh, it's probably.
Actually, now I kind of want to know who Denizens is.
I assume they're a crepe paper company.
Oh man. So yeah, this is just more crafts. I don't want to read more crafts, but I'm honestly though, I am very fascinated by this book.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. Like it descriptions of how to make like dolls and table toppers and decorations and things like that. So, and a bunch of mentions of crepe paper. There's another mention of crepe paper. Oh, look, it says, you can make crepe paper borders, crepe paper moss. Oh my God, it actually says crepe paper, which is packaged in folds 10 feet long and 20 inches wide, is 15 cents a fold for the plain colors and 25 and 30 cents for the decorated crepe. I think is Denizens. I need to know who Denizens is.
Yeah.
I have to know right now. Denizens. Okay, I'm not finding it.
Can you put Denizens
crepe paper
or like art supplies or something?
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's a crepe paper company. It really is, Michelle.
Okay. So now I understand everything.
No, Michelle. It's literally they're still in business.
Good for them. See, now we understand what was going on here. Good marketing, guys. Good marketing.
Usually we're joking when we say stuff like, oh, that article was clearly written by a shark or whatever. Denizens is literally a crepe paper company.
See?
Well, now we know, and knowing is half the battle. Well, I don't know where to go from here, Michelle. That was startling, a startling revelation that it was one giant advertisement for getting married and crepe paper.
Yeah, weird.
And they published a bogey book every year about things you can do with crepe paper.
Well, that's pretty smart.
It is. Wow. I really did not think it was going to be a crepe paper company. I really did not think that. Well done, Michelle. So, wow. No, I'm like completely thrown.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. We got to the bottom of this because that's what this show is about. It's about intense investigation It's about uncovering the truth.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to, wow. Okay. Well, now it's time, Michelle, we're going to turn down the lights.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you the scary story my mother always told me.
Okay.
I teased this for a while that I was going to do this. So I guess I'm going to jump right into it as my mind has been wrecked by denizens. Damn you, denizens. Damn you. Okay. So we've talked about this before. You didn't have scary stories that you were told by your parents, right?
No, no. And actually, when I mentioned that kind of stuff to my mom, she like, and then you scare your kids. My mom was not pleased.
Really?
Yeah, she was like, "What do you mean? Like, you don't want to scare them?" Yeah,
Gringos are just different, I guess.
I
Like,
guess.
so I don't know, you East Coasters are just different because my mom told me this story. So this story is called The Woman with the Golden Arm.
Mm,
And it's a lot of people say it came from slave story. It was an old slave story. Famously, Mark Twain retold the story, which he said that a slave of his uncle's, I believe, told it to him and the boys
mhm.
when they used to camp at his uncle's estate. They would either go outside and camp, or they would camp by the wood stove in the
Whoa.
kitchen and
Mhm.
tell ghost stories. I'm going to do my best. This is not written down. This is not prepared in any way. I am remembering this as it was told to me when I was a little child. It's going to be awful. So, Michelle, the lights are off. I need you to get close.
Okay.
Listen very closely, okay?
Okay.
Years and years ago, there was a woman. Well, she was a little girl. See, I'm already messing up. Years and years ago, there was this little girl, lived in a small village in Kentucky. And one day, she was walking down the street, and suddenly a horse-drawn carriage ran over her.
Oh.
The horse got spooked by something and just jolted across and ran over her. The carriage immediately stopped, and the man who was riding in the carriage got out and turned out to be a very wealthy man who was in town checking on business opportunities. He was going to open a factory or something. Well, the carriage had not killed her. It had destroyed her arm. Her arm was smashed, and she was like 11 years old. So the man felt incredibly, incredibly horrible about this happening. And due to his wealth, he decided that the best way to show penance for hurting her was to not only get her a replacement arm, but an arm made of solid gold. So he paid to have an arm of solid gold fitted to her entire youth until she was an adult. I guess guilt is a strong contributor to things like that. I don't know. I could kind of see that. That's one of my favorite parts of the story. I could see that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
being like, I feel so bad I did this and there's nothing I can do, but as penance, I'm going to just do the most expensive thing I can just to show you that I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So years go by. She's known in the town as the girl with the golden arm.
Mhm.
One day she gets older and I guess goes to a Halloween party with lots of crepe paper and meets a guy. And they get married. They fall in love and they get married. And they have a child, and unfortunately, the child dies in before birth or during birth. So they're both kind of wrought with sadness, and they decide to throw themselves into something else. So they buy a farm,
Oh.
and unfortunately, the farm is also wrought with very bad luck.
Mm.
Their crops don't come in. Their animals get sick and die. And the entire time all of this is going on, they're trying to have another child, but the girl with the golden arm can't produce another child. But they do the best they can. They're still very deeply in love, but money gets harder and harder and harder at the farm. So eventually her husband broaches to her as casually as he can, "What if we sold your golden arm to pay our debts and keep the farm open?"
Mm.
And she is just immediately adamant. "No, absolutely not. It's my golden arm. It is a part of me. I would never get rid of my golden arm. It's mine. It is my arm." So he's like, okay, I'm sorry. Well, that following spring, she fell ill and died. as people did back then. They just,
Yeah.
just be like, achoo, and then there it cuts to a gravestone. So she dies, and at her funeral, people are like, I'm so sorry, for your loss. And he's like, thank you, and all this stuff. And then he goes home one night and he can't sleep because he's lost his wife, he lost his unborn child, and he's going to lose the farm, which is the last thing he has in the entire world. So finally, he keeps having these nightmares, these dreams about his dead wife laying in the casket with the golden arm. So he gets up one night and he gets a shovel and he goes to the graveyard. And in the light of the full moon, he digs up her casket, opens it up, and gently and respectfully removes the golden arm. He closes the casket, buries it, and heads out of town the next day, where he finds a gem dealer who's willing to buy the arm based on weight. He doesn't sell it in town. He knows that would be a mistake. Everyone knows that his wife was the woman with the golden arm and that she was buried with it. So he sells the golden arm, gets enough money, he pays off his creditors, he pays off the debtors, he buys some new farm animals, and things are finally starting to look up. He has a successful rutabaga harvest. The cows and pigs are living very well. The chickens are laying eggs. He's the most well-fed and happiest he's been since his wife's death, thanks to the money brought by her golden arm. But he has trouble sleeping at night because as he's drifting off to sleep, he hears a voice off in the distance. Where's my golden arm? Where's my golden arm? It's so soft that at first he can't hear it. He can't understand what the words are. He just hears this moaning. It wakes him up in a cold sweat, and he attempts to go back to sleep. But every night, it gets louder. Where's my golden arm? Where's my golden arm? And when he finally figures out what the voice is saying, he's livid. He's so angry because he's become convinced that the sketchy man who bought the golden arm out of town has told somebody what he did. He's positive that somebody that cared about his beloved wife who passed away is trying to get revenge on him to make him feel guilty for doing something he had to do to save his farm, to protect his livelihood. From his position, he didn't do anything wrong to his wife, and he really believes his wife would have wanted him to be well after her passing. So he finally gets so mad, he starts leaving the house every night when he hears, where's my golden arm? But he never finds anything. The voice stops. So he's hoping maybe him stomping around the farm with a shotgun is enough to scare away anybody who wants to torment this poor man who has lived a life of torment up until this point. He's been tormented. He lost a child, lost his wife, almost lost his farm. All he wants is a little bit of that good life. But one night, who stole my golden arm? The voice changed. And now he's livid. Because now it's not just saying, where's my golden arm? It's accusing him of stealing the golden arm. So he gets out of bed with his shotgun and he goes outside and he hears the voice. Who stole my golden arm? But he can't see where it's coming from. He's trying to figure it out, but he can't. He has no idea where this voice is coming from. He has his shotgun. He goes out to his barn where he thinks he's hearing it from, but there's nothing there. Even the cows are sleeping. They aren't spooked at all. Where's my golden arm? Who stole my golden arm? So finally he slowly turns. And off in the distance, past the pasture, he sees a glowing woman in a white gown. The gown his wife was buried in. Almost floating. Searching. Perhaps for her golden arm. as she moves and floats around. He can't believe his eyes. He's trying to decide what to do. Should he run? Should he scream out? Should he shoot it? Like, he has no idea what to do. And then its ghostly head turns in his direction, and he freezes in absolute terror. His instinct is to hide, so he hides behind a barrel in the barn. And slowly, the specter creeps forward. Who stole my golden arm? Who stole my golden arm? Who stole my golden arm? As she enters the barn, floating on lifeless legs. Who stole my golden arm? Was it you? And that's the story as I remember it. And I know it's way different from the one that Mark Twain published, because I read that and it was very different. But that's the version I knew. And my mom said that her mother told her that story and her grandmother told her that story. And then I told my mom, Mark Twain published that story. My mom was like, wow, okay. But my mom's from Kentucky. So, it's probably from the same source. So that's the golden arm. That was the story, other than La Llorona, that scared the ever-loving crap out of me when I was a kid.
That's pretty scary.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
I got really into it in the last 3 minutes. I have all of my hair on my arms are raised up. I have full friggin' goosebumps. And I cannot tell you how effective that is when you're just alone in a dark room with someone and you scream, "Was it you?" right in their face. Which is, the best pranks are just sudden noise. And I want you to know that Mark Twain toured the country being paid to sit in rooms, community rooms with people in chairs by one candle, telling that story and ending it with, "Was it you?" Right in the, and making adults go, "Ah!" and women faint in the late 1800s, early 1900s. But I love that that's what entertainment was then. It was silly. Now that's for kids at a camp, but back then, grown men would be like, "My God," "My word," I love it so much. Makes me very happy.
Yeah.
So that's the ghost story that tormented me almost as bad as La Llorona. The only difference is my mom was like, "Well, it's just an old story. It's not based on any reality." And then my stepdad would be like, "It's true. La Llorona roams the earth anywhere there's a body of water." I'm like, "Okay, I'll just lay here and cry." He's like, "Cry quietly. We're sleeping in the other room." So, yeah. So that's my favorite ghost story to tell when I was a kid, and I loved it too. I would beg my mom to tell it to me again, every night for a good hot minute there. Every night my mom would tell me that story before bed.
Cool.
So, because my mother loved me, so she would scare me, unlike your family, who I guess just tolerated you children, I guess, because they never terrorized you with love.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, now that that's been completed, I think we're going to go to a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about horror media, TV series, anime, Reddit, and wrap things up for the month of October as we give this XL-sized monthly spooky. So we'll be back right after these words. All right, spookies. I hope I don't have to pay the bill for people who have to get their underwear laundered from the last segment. I know, very, very spoopy, but we're back. I actually was impressed. I completely lost my nervousness about. I felt really self-conscious for the first 2 minutes of the story, and then just kind of leapt right into it. Yeah. So, thank you for being supportive as always, Michelle. Even if you didn't scream like I was hoping you would.
Sorry, I can't scream.
You don't know how?
No.
Oh, you gotta get on that. It's good for you.
No.
So I guess we're going to open with this. I'm sighing because of Michelle, not because of the movie, but I saw Halloween Ends in the theater and Michelle watched it on Peacock.
Mhm.
I loved it. Like, I didn't just like it, I really loved it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really good. And I know that the internet and the edgelords really didn't like it. And Michelle is an edgelord now. But no, what did you think of it overall? I know you didn't love it, but what did you think?
I thought it was good.
I mean, you didn't hate it, right? Or did you?
No, I don't think I hated it.
You just thought it wasn't as good as you. It wasn't great, I guess, is the way to put it.
Uh-huh.
See, I thought it was great.
I'm glad.
So, it's a very divisive film because they took a very different direction
Mhm.
with the film than they did the last two. But Halloween Kills was also like a lot of people didn't like it. I really liked Halloween Kills. I forget, did you just like Halloween Kills or did you love it?
I just liked it.
But what did you think of Halloween 2018?
I really, really liked
Okay.
2018.
I remember we saw that in the theater. That was
Yeah.
one of the best experiences ever when that lady told that like college age or high school age kid to shut up.
Mhm.
That was so
Yeah.
good. Well, what was it? Didn't he go shh and she went, "Oh, shush yourself." Or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I mean, and the best part is like she owned him, but she was the one talking. He was just
Mhm.
trying to get him to
Yeah.
stop. And she was like, "Oh, shush yourself." I love seeing movies in your neck of the woods. It's the best. So, but yeah, my rating, absolutely go see Halloween Ends. Michelle's rating, I guess see Halloween Ends if you have a chance.
Yeah, why not?
Jeez, Michelle,
All
you're a
right.
bit mean. So I know you haven't finished it yet, but you did start Midnight Mass.
Uh-huh.
And how many episodes are you in now? 3 or 4?
I'm still at 3. 3 in.
Dang. Well,
Yeah,
you still have time to finish it before Halloween.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep I'm falling asleep in the evenings again, so we're having some problems.
Well, I mean, but at least you started it. And
Yeah.
I loved the call when you found that when they revealed what's going on and I think it was the 3rd episode.
Mhm.
How you were just like, "Oh my god." I was like, I told you.
Yeah, the thing happened.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil it because it's only a year old, the show. So,
Yeah.
but if you have Netflix, please do check out Midnight Mass. If you like scary stuff at Halloween, highly recommend Midnight Mass. I'm glad you're enjoying it so far, Michelle. You're about halfway through almost.
Mhm.
So I hope you get to finish it and we can talk about it some more very soon. Speaking of Netflix shows, I watched Midnight Club, which is
Yeah.
based on the books of Christopher Pike. Christopher Pike is a author I was massively into in my young adult and younger years. From about 8 years old on, I was really into Christopher Pike. His books were very adult, considering they were for young adults.
Hmm.
And Midnight Club, in my opinion, did not disappoint. I only had one problem with the entire series, and I'm not going to say it because I don't want to spoil it. But it wasn't a big problem. It was a small problem. I was just like, darn, they did it that way, and that was it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spoil anything, but I really enjoyed Midnight Club. It's 10 1-hour episodes, so it's a bit of a commitment.
Mhm.
I had to like work my butt off to find the time to watch it all. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was very scary. I thought that they were very fair to some of my favorite Midnight Club stories. For those who don't know, or Midnight Club, Christopher Pike stories. Midnight Club is a book by Christopher Pike about a group of terminally ill children who tell each other ghost stories at night to entertain each other. And they're all dying.
Yeah.
And it's very, very direct about that. I really appreciated that as the show progressed, they got more gaunt and pale and weak and would cough more and stuff. Like that's what the book was like. It would say like, as she looked at her, at her friend Steve, she noticed what a skeleton he was becoming and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like it's all like that. But instead of them telling the stories that they told each other in Midnight Club, which were all very short stories,
Mhm.
it's not an anthology. About half the episodes are the story of the Midnight Club, and then the other half of the episode is a standalone story they're telling each other. And they made it fit thematically with what was going on in the story. And each of those stories were based on other Christopher Pike books.
Cool.
Which I really liked because they did Road to Nowhere. And the moment it started, I realized that's probably the book I read like 3 or 4 times because I remembered everything about it the moment it started. I got so excited. I feel like my friends who really liked fantasy movies or fantasy books and stuff, they've all seen their favorite books be turned into movies for better or worse.
Mhm.
I have not seen very many books I absolutely loved become movies and TV
Yeah.
shows. So this was a very exciting prospect for me. So I
Good.
really loved it. Also, if you want to feel old, it's all 90s nostalgia. They said it in 1994, which is when the actual book originally came out.
Mhm.
So it's just like all of these 90s songs that you're like, whoa. And you're like, oh shoot, it's to show people that it's old. I'm old. There was one scene that really moved me. It's not a spoiler because you don't know who, but
Mhm.
one of the characters dies. I mean, a lot of them die, but one of the characters dies. And as they're doing like a send off for the death,
Mhm.
one of the characters plays cello, and she starts playing this riff on her cello. And I'm like, hey, that riff sounds familiar. And then she starts singing Time of Your Life by Green Day.
Oh.
And they all join in and sing it like a chorus to send off their dead friend.
Aw.
And I cried like a little stupid baby. More so because they reminded me of my own mortality. No, it was just a really beautiful moment, but it was like, whoa, like that's the music that connected with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because those kids would have been a smidge older than me, like when I was in the 90s. So they would have
Okay.
been, just a little bit older than me. But I really loved the show. I also watched The Watcher on Netflix, which is a mini series based on the true story of the Watcher house in New Jersey that I introduced you to when I saw you a couple months back.
Yeah.
The show was great to me because it was a ridiculous, silly crime drama horror thing.
Mhm.
But saying it's based on a true story is a pretty big stretch. The way I described it was that if you were talking to the people who produced the show, you'd be like, wow, so it's based on a true story? Yep, it's based on a true story. Wow, so like a family moved into a house and started getting creepy letters? Oh yeah, they sure did. Wow, that's so scary. And then like somebody was breaking into the house and killed their pet? No, that didn't happen. Oh, but they had those weird older neighbors who were always watching them and like taking things from their backyard? No, they didn't have any neighbors like that. But they had the neighbor who was like had a mentally challenged brother who would like just let himself into the house and like play in it and goof around in there. No, there was no mentally challenged neighbor. Okay, but like the police department was like, we can't help you. No, they investigated it thoroughly. Okay. But there was a guy who used to live in that house who killed his whole family. No, that's based on a different story from New Jersey, but from about 20 years earlier. Oh, okay. But like the real estate agent was trying to get the house for cheaper, right? No, there was no real estate agent best friend. But the private investigator like uncovered all this different stuff and no, they never hired a private investigator. Okay. So what part's true? A family moved into a house and got some weird letters and then they moved out. But they had trouble selling the house and they like couldn't get anybody to buy it, right? Kinda. They just rented it for 5 years and then they sold it. Okay, so the first 3 minutes of the show is based on true stories, and then everything else is just awesome made up stuff. Yes. That's my review of The Watcher. I highly recommend it if you like that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But if you know, like I never watch things based on true crime where I know all the information.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? It's just like, it was just so obscene, but so fun. I did like it though.
Good.
So, but those are my big watches for October.
Mhm.
I did also watch Dahmer, the Dahmer series on Netflix. I thought it was very well done. I thought it had a lot. I'm going to say one thing. Some people are mad about the fact that they depict Dahmer as a gay man.
Mhm.
Because, they're like, well, he's a murderer. He's all these bad things. I think they did a really good job, not necessarily of depicting Dahmer as a gay man, but of depicting what the gay life was like, the gay lifestyle, what the culture toward gay people was in that time period. I think they did a really good job of showing that honestly and in a positive light, that these were men looking for companionship and love in a world that didn't really want them. And they just did the best they could. And I really liked it. I think it actually is a good LGBT. Coming from me, a straight guy, I think it was a good though. No, well, since I'm not a part of that group, I think if I was like, oh, I understood the group better after I watched it. I
Okay.
think that's good.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would recommend watching it as long as you have a strong stomach, because it's pretty gross. Which you
Yeah.
wouldn't expect that just because it's a guy who like drilled holes in people's heads and poured acid in them and then ate their hearts, but whatever.
Yeah.
So what have you been watching, Michelle?
Uh,
Because Chainsaw Man just became an anime.
Yeah. 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 Want me to talk about it?
Yeah, talk about Chainsaw Man. Because, I mean, Chainsaw Man is horror adjacent 100%, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sort of.
Chainsaw Man was a popular manga.
Yeah, it's based on the anime is based on a manga by Tasuki Fujimoto, and yeah, it's about a dude who makes like a deal with a devil, and becomes a chainsaw man, some type of chainsaw man.
Well, I mean, I would hope.
Yeah, but just there's only 2 episodes out so far, and I like them. I don't love them, but I also found out that Tasuki Fujimoto is heavily like involved in the production, so it's my fault.
Oh, no.
That I don't think that the atmosphere works, because apparently this is what he wanted. My biggest complaint so far is that it's just not it doesn't feel crazy enough.
Okay.
But I think maybe that'll just kind of come with time because the manga really hit its stride like partway through. So we'll see if it gets weirder.
Well, I
it's-
hope it does for your sake.
Thanks.
So that's been kind of your like, how many episodes are you in? 2 or 3?
2.
2?
Yeah.
Oh, but so you've been enjoying it okay, but kind of with an asterisk. You're just kind of like,
Yeah, like I'm really excited about it, and I saw Power in the last episode, and I like Power. So and like there were some really good parts, but there's just something that isn't perfect for me, and because I like the manga so much, it's kind of sad right now that
yeah.
But who knows?
I hope it turns around. I'll ask you for a full report in our November episode of Monthly Spooky,
Okay.
because by then you'll be most of the way through the season, probably.
Yeah, sorta. Yeah.
I mean, over halfway, probably.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad you have that to enjoy. You finished your vampire anime, right?
Yeah, I did.
How did it go?
It was so good.
Yeah?
And but I don't know what happens because it didn't do the whole story.
Yeah.
But the kid still hasn't fallen in love with her, so I'm really happy.
Wow, your goals for other people are weird.
Well, representation. It's nice.
You are not a vampire.
I know, but I want to be one.
Well, I'm glad that the show was good, though. So I'm guessing, are they going to give you another season, or do you not know yet?
We don't know. Yeah, I'll probably just read. It's based on a manga. I'm probably just going to pick it up so I can find out if he can fall in love with this girl, or maybe he doesn't fall in love with people.
Oh.
Like I want.
You should make your own manga about vampires and Ace.
Yeah.
So I want to give everybody a reminder, if they want to check out your post-apocalyptic zombie comic, this is a great time to check it out. It's Halloween time. They should go to webtoon.com.
Yeah.
And search for, what's the full title again?
At the end of everything.
At the end of everything.
But you have to go look in the Canvas section of Webtoon, not the originals, because they don't pay me. So
They should pay you everything.
no, yeah, I don't think so.
So other cool things that happened in October media-wise, I went to Freddy Fest, and that was in Lehighton, Pennsylvania at the Mahoning Drive-In. It was 2 nights of Freddy Krueger movies. The first night was Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 2, and 3 on 35mm film, and the second night was Nightmare on Elm Street 4, 5, and 6 on 35mm film. Me and my dog Chicano went and camped in my Prius, and it got really cold.
Yeah.
Like super cold. And I saw you that Saturday. You came by and hung out with us for a little while. You got to meet Chicano and pet my doggy, and he really liked you. He took a nap next to you.
Yeah. That he took a nap next to me, not that he really liked me.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't take a nap next to somebody he hates.
Are you sure?
I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. You're like, so you're telling me there's a chance. But that was a really awesome experience seeing those 6 movies on the big screen. I only fell asleep a little bit during Nightmare on Elm Street 6, which was at the end of the whole marathon.
Mhm.
And it was really, really cold. So I got all cozy under the blankets because I was freezing. So then, of course, I started getting sleepy because you know how cozy blankets are. In fact, things
Yeah.
were really cozy and chilly until now. Now it's all of a sudden warm again here in Ohio and in
Mhm.
PA. So it's really weird time for weather.
Yeah.
But it was an awesome experience. I just kind of dropped everything and me and my doggy hit the road. I wanted to celebrate his newfound health. He's
Mhm.
doing really well since his cancer
Good.
surgery. So it was really cool to go on that trip.
Yeah.
I also got the Halloween. There's a lot of media stuff because it's October.
Mhm.
I also got the Halloween 6, 7, and 8 box set of 4K Blu-rays. And I've watched 2 of them so far. They look amazing on
Good.
Blu-ray. I'm going to be watching Halloween H2O, I think, on today. When people are listening to this that Monday, I'm going to be watching that on 4K, baby. So I'm really looking forward to
Yay.
checking that out. I also saw the Spirit Halloween movie.
Right.
Yeah, they made a movie in conjunction with Spirit Halloween. And I got to tell
So
you,
weird.
some people hated on it. First of all, it is a kids movie. It is for little kids.
Mhm.
So don't be so hard on it. It's for little kids. But it's literally a movie where a ghost played by Christopher Lloyd takes over and it inhabits his spirit into all of the Spirit Halloween stuff, like the monsters and the statues and the standees and the costumes, like
Mhm.
come to life and chase after these kids.
Wow.
I would have loved that when I was a kid. The idea that a Halloween store you can actually go to just so happens to like be in a movie where everything comes alive and kids are running from it and stuff. That
Mhm.
would be so neat.
Yeah.
So if you have little ones and you want to watch something cool and spooky, rent that wherever you rent your movies. It's like $3.99 to rent it. It's not streaming anywhere for free. But you know, that always drives me crazy, especially when people are like, is it free? It's like, well, if it's not on Tubi, it's not free. You're
Mhm.
paying, but it's just included. But I digress before I get into that worse. So Spirit Halloween movie, I highly recommend it. I think people will enjoy it. Man, I'm not used to having. Usually, we're like struggling to come up with anything to talk about in
Mhm.
horror media. It was like, the Munsters trailer. Let's laugh at that again. So beyond that, what's going on Reddit?
Okay, so I'm just gonna tell you the good one and not the not so good one.
Okay,
So there was this person probably, and they were in their kitchen, and this is from Glitch in the Matrix again because they're like the only ones that have anything interesting. Um, so they're like in their kitchen and they decide to have something to drink. So they're getting the water. They get a pitcher of water out, and they get ice like an ice cube tray, one of those like kinda like silicone kinds
yeah,
where they have
the
and they're like
flexible ones.
yeah, and they're like has star ice cubes in it, right? So they take out 3 ice cubes and put it in the glass, and they're about to put the water in the glass, and then they look in the cup, and there's 4 ice cubes in the cup instead of 3.
Uh,
Now, so maybe they just put an extra ice cube in, but wait, that's not the thing. So then they're
the
like,
tray.
"What?" Yeah. So first they like look at the ice cubes and they think that like maybe one of them broke or something.
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
Yeah, so they actually pour them out onto the table to like look at them, and it's clearly 4 ice cubes, but there's only 3 spots empty in the tray. So where did the 4th ice cube come? And then they're like they get to the point where like, "What the hell?" And then they're like actually putting the ice cubes back in the tray to make sure that like they don't misunderstand something. No, there's still a leftover ice cube. And they're so upset that they just leave the ice cubes to melt on the counter because they just don't want them anymore and they don't even get any water.
I don't want this other dimension ice.
Yeah.
For all you know, in that other dimension, the ice makes the water hot.
Yeah, who knows? So,
I watched a video on the Mandela effect the other day that actually
mhm,
upset me greatly.
really?
It mentioned one particular Mandela effect that I completely had.
Oh,
Do you remember the dancing frog from the WB that would
uh-huh,
sing that song "Hello, my baby"? You know that one?
I guess, yeah.
Do you remember what he sang?
That?
It was "Hello, my baby." What was the next part? Hello, my.
It's either darling or something.
I remembered it as Hello, My Baby, Hello, My Darling. It is not Hello, My Darling.
Is
It's
it
Hello, My
Lovely?
Honey.
Oh, okay, fine. I don't care.
Oh, you're mean. This one
no.
blew my mind.
No, see, that wouldn't, to me, that I would just think that's a memory issue. But that's interesting.
And the other one was the movie Scary Movie, the original Scary Movie, when the guy reaches out with his deformed hand to help the guy who's falling off the edge of the house.
Mhm.
I've always heard, I had not seen that movie since I was a kid, but I've always heard people reference it as like, grab my strong hand, which is the weird hand.
Mhm.
That's not in the movie. He just says, grab my hand.
Huh.
But people have rewritten it to strong hand. I'm assuming it's to make it make more logical sense to them, as they say, like, take my strong hand. But I remember like a friend literally referencing that movie and laughing after he said, like, take my strong hand. So it's really weird.
It is weird.
But I don't know how I would feel if I had 4 ice cubes when I was expecting 3. I'm being serious. Like, that would really weird me out.
Because when I originally read it, I like didn't read it well, and I was like, okay, so you just took a 4th ice cube out and didn't realize it. But yeah, I mean, if there's no spot for 4 ice cubes, where did the other one come from?
Do they have a carbon monoxide detector? Did anyone ask?
No, nobody asked.
Oh, mystery solved. All right. Well, I think it's about time we wrap it up. Did you have anything else you needed to throw out? Okay. Because I know we went extra long today. I wanted us to have a little extra fun because it's the Halloween season. And I'm really grateful to all the new listeners we have. Thank you so much for checking out the shows that we do here, for hanging out with me and Michelle around your Halloween season. Please make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast app. And while you're there, maybe give us a rating, a ranking. We would really appreciate it. And every bit of information you could ever need is at weeklyspooky.com. You look like you're going to say something.
No, I'm scared of people rating us.
Oh, you're going to have to get used to that. It's coming. Winter is coming. So thank you all so much. I hope you have an excellent, safe, and fun Halloween with lots and lots of crepe paper, because it's the only way to do it. And we'll see you guys next month right here on Monthly Spooky. Monthly Spooky is hosted by Henrique Couto and Michelle Antisocial. It is produced by Dan Wilder. Executive produced by Rob Fields. The Monthly Spooky theme song is written and performed by Ray Mattis. If you love the programming here on Weekly Spooky, please consider becoming a patron. For as little as $1 a month, you can help us continue to bring you more and more scares. You can find all the information at weeklyspooky.com. This program would like to also thank our Patreon podcast boosters, folks who pay just a little bit more every single month to hear their names on the show. And they are Julia Kirsch, Christopher Sullivan, Brent McCollum, Gino Lyons, Steve King, Karen Wiemet, Jack Kerr, Jeff and George Hilton, Craig Cohen, and Kevin Fry. Sincerely, thank you all so very much. And if you want to support the show, you can go to weeklyspooky.com, get some merchandise, leave a review. Thanks again so much. Until next month, stay spooky.